Hello and welcome. This video is about having a travel guide hack to save money. My name is Tally. I am a finance professional, but more so I'm just very financially savvy and I want others to have the same benefits and knowledge that I have to enjoy the best life that you can at a fraction of the cost. So without too much more of an intro, I'm just going to pop into these great nuggets of wisdom. So the first one is to go to a country where your local currency, being the currency that you earn your income in, is stronger against that traveling currency. So where you can go, for example, I currently live in Australia, my income is in Australian dollars. I would find it expensive to go to the US or to Europe using the euro. Instead, for example, being able to go to Japan or China using the yen. And so if I want to feel like I can enjoy myself, be able to have all the full experiences in that country, I would never choose a country in which my dollar and my bargaining in that country are not worth the same amount here, because you're obviously working harder for that money and spending it harder in that country for the same experience. The next item I would say would be to travel with someone. If you are traveling with a companion, that obviously helps with being able to share the room costs if it is a twin share, for example. And you want to travel with someone who has the same vibe as you and budget ideas. So it's a terrible idea to, for example, have one person who expects to be at a resort for the week and be sipping cocktails and not really leave the vicinity, and someone else who wants to get on motorcycles and explore an island and go to all the different activities like snorkeling or diving or whatever it is particular place has. Because in the end, no matter if it's a holiday or not, it's not going to feel like a holiday if it wasn't really your vibe to begin with, and it might be a very expensive lesson otherwise. So you definitely don't want to be traveling with someone who you haven't spent a good deal amount of time with, and it could just be a very stressful experience, and you might have just been better off relaxing at home and doing something more local. If you are a family of 4, for example, perhaps, or even friendship group of 4, perhaps consider going to a YMCA or a different type of hostel where you can get the 4-bedroom bunk rooms. And that way you can all share the same room, but then you're not sharing with strangers. And this would be a great cheap option if you are, for example, doing your Euro trip and just looking for ways to keep that cost down on a comm. The next item would be to have credit cards. Definitely wouldn't normally use credit cards. If you aren't someone who can remember to pay your bills on time, definitely don't opt for this option. It's a risk. But I would read the terms and conditions. Again, if you're not someone who likes to read fine print, definitely don't do this option. And you can, through a credit card, get free travel insurance or other items and perks such as airport passes, lounge passes, you name it. But again, read that fine print, because some credit cards, for example, would make you have used the credit card to purchase your flight to and from that country, and only for a certain amount of time you can be away for it to be eligible. So you really want to make sure that you're reading that fine print, because travel insurance is something you must have on your journey. The other item to note would be to use a debit card or a credit card that has no overseas transaction costs. It can be quite expensive if you're using your normal everyday account, that in Australia, at least, a lot of our banks would have quite expensive pricing on any overseas purchases like that. You can also rent out your home, your primary residence, on a site called Home Exchange, and you can earn points, or you could do a swap with someone else in another family, and that way you would then be able to get free accommodation effectively from allowing someone to be in your home, and then you could then use their home. It's a really great site. I personally have used it through someone else. I personally don't have an account, but the person I stayed with has this available to them and they rent out their home, and it works really well. I can definitely recommend that personally. It's not something that, if you're not good at admin, I would not do it because it's a lot of admin involved in making sure that your home's clean and organized so that it's available for someone to be able to use. It's obviously super useful if you're able to stay at a friend or a family nearby to earn up those points throughout the year as credits to then use in your annual holiday. Another great tip would be to go to a country that perhaps you have friends and family. You could then lower the cost of accommodation greatly because obviously per night accommodation can be so expensive. So that's a really great way to look after yourself and also just see friends and family and connect. It's always such a nice way to be shown and see a country through a local's eyes. I really enjoy that part of travel and I love hosting people as well in my own city. One other item would be, again, disclaimer, if you're not good at admin, paying your bills, do not do this, but you can credit card churn, aka have a credit card, use the points, collect the points, cancel the card, etc. to then earn flight points with the airline that it's partnered with. And then you can use those points to travel. You'd still have to pay for the tax on that flight, but obviously it's much cheaper than having to pay for the flight itself. You could also, this is not really a hack, I haven't used this personally, but if you got a job with an airline, you'd obviously also have that perk, but you'd need to pass probation, or if you're a friend or family and you can be on their list, you would be able to get discounted flights. Another item I have is more just, you could use iMover, which is an international van company. It's headquartered in Australia, so there's more vans in Australia for this option, but I have personally done it in New Zealand and in Europe, and you can relocate the van for $1 a day. So it's a really affordable way to see the country. Are on a schedule, you sometimes can get fuel allowances, ferry allowances, and it's just a great way to the country. I'll finish with this being that you should never buy on debt. So if you need to take a personal loan out to be able to afford a holiday, just simply you can't afford it. And I'm really sorry come on here and say that. I'm all for saving money and trying to do low budget holidays if that's all you can afford. But if it's simply too stressful, you'd have to take out money or loan money from someone, then there's other ways in which you can relax and enjoy and still get that same holiday experience in your own hometown. I can do a separate video on that at another stage, but much as I talk about credit cards and the hacks in that, I personally have been late to pay a bill on my credit card and have incurred the fees, or sometimes I didn't spend enough to earn the points and that incurred money for me. So it's not, even for someone who I feel I am financially savvy, I still have been at the perils of cards and banks, and it's not something to really underestimate how much you can just accumulate credit card debt and doesn't feel comfortable. So yeah, purpose of this video is to enrich your life and give you control of your finances. I very much encourage you to just get educated in what works for you, and hopefully you've taken one tip that will help you in your life in enjoying it on a holiday. Thank you so much for watching my video. Give me a thumbs up if you're interested in any of these tips.